Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about this hangar bay control room diorama I made, and also a bit about flooring. This is a great material that I used for this project, and I'm going to tell you all a little bit about it near the end. And we're also going to talk about the various walls and command center parts from Hole in the Ground Productions. First thing is the command center itself here. This has recently been reworked. Previously, they didn't have this overhang on either side like they're supposed to, and they were a little bit shorter. Now they're pretty much the same height as the wall, some extra greeblies. And if you're saying, where is C-3PO and Chewbacca? Well, I don't have enough of those figures to also go in this. I need to get some more because they feature in multiple dioramas. Over here, you can see the windows that they look down in to see where the Falcon is. And if you look here, there's this little rifle rack, and that was modified from one that was an accessory that originally came with I believe it was a Power of the Force 2 Stormtrooper. It came with a rifle rack. It can hold 3 rifles, supposedly, but it actually really only holds 2 very well, because if you see the little post sticking out right there, it actually prevents you from putting 3 on there very well unless you were to actually cut that off. And also, that rack mounts to the windowsill. It's not freestanding like the accessory is. So that was done just easily with a hobby knife and some sandpaper, and just cut that away, repaint it. The bottom part also came from that same accessory. Next to that, you have one of the walls. This room seems to mostly used these walls with the offset. Now, I don't know if that particular light panel is there, because in the movie, you don't really see this corner very much. Now, over here, there's actually supposed to be a half-round portion, which I guess if this was flipped around the other way, you could fit that in and it wouldn't obscure the detail. Here, if you take a look at this tech manual, it shows you the layout of the room, and you can see this rounded portion here. Now, you'll also see that this is almost curved, like it's to the curve of the Death Star. I don't believe that that was really there during filming. I think that's just something that was done when it was like this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of reference material where you go, oh, well, I created it because this reference showed me that that's what it was supposed to be. But you'll find 5 other sources that might show that same room or whatever in a different way. For example, you can see here that this is 8 sections to the control consoles. I went back and forth on this so many times. Originally, when I had the Hole in the Ground Productions Command Center made, I had 8 sections because I saw multiple reference that was. Well, one of the references was, say, a photo like this that only had 4 consoles, and someone actually mirrored it to make it look like the whole thing. Well, obviously, that's wrong. So, probably for filming, they didn't do something weird like this. They probably just made it a rectangle. So, you can see here, this is just like a lot of different barrels and boxes and crates and stuff. Here is what I refer to as the chasm thingy, because I don't know what else to call it, but it mainly shows up more prominently in the Death Star chasm scene, and also on the Tanaviv. There's a shot with Leia standing behind one, hiding. Here's the little, I don't know what you call it, utility closet that C-3PO and R2 hide in initially. My diorama does not have any chairs in it yet. Temporarily, I'm going to use what I refer to as tech chairs, or I might use Star Destroyer bridge chairs or something. I don't have any made for this specific set. The chairs used in this scene are unique. I don't think they're used anywhere else. So there you go. And I want to talk a bit about the flooring. So if you want to do this layout like I have, the nice thing is you can pretty much get all this stuff from Hole in the Ground Productions and just go corner to corner if you aren't worried about that half circle. If you are, I would just reverse a piece like this and there's room to put it in. And if you see, I have, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have the base gets lined up with the wall, and then the black part of the console actually juts out on either side. And I'm going to make it easy for you on the flooring. So this panel is exactly 12 inches by 19 inches. And everything sits just perfectly. Go edge to edge. Now these here are not the same as 3 wall panels. They're actually a little bit longer by like maybe 1/4 of an inch. So the command center is actually slightly angled to the left, but hardly anything. And then you can go edge to edge. Now, this may seem kind of empty in here. That's because the chasm thingy and some boxes would be right here. I could put them there, but they're kind of just going to obstruct the view, and I'm not sure if I want that. It would kind of be like Bob Ross painting this beautiful landscape, and then he goes, here's a happy little tree, right in the middle. Yes, I've seen him do it. We've all seen him do it. The nice thing about this flooring, you can get it at Home Depot, and it's about $9 for a 2-foot by 4-foot piece, which means you can get a fair amount of use out of it for dioramas around this size or a little bit smaller. The nice thing about this, you do not have to paint it. This is black on one side, now has a little bit of a texture to it, and then on the other side, perfectly smooth white. And the nice thing is, it means you don't have to worry about a painted black surface for your Death Star floor. Also, it's 1/4 of an inch thick, which means it's plenty heavy. In fact, you can lift this entire thing, move it around, put it on a shelf, and it all stays together. What I did with this was, there's a couple places in these walls and in all the consoles where I have screws up through the bottom. And so that secures them. They are fastened down to here. It's not just glue. In fact, I didn't use any glue for that. They're all fastened to the floor. And then I just made some little corner pieces to help glue the corners together. And you can make that out of whatever. It can be wood, whatever. But it just needs to have that right angle to it. So you go corner to corner. With the flooring, it is wood. And therefore the edge does have a wood edge like this. This is either like MDF or hardboard or something like that they call it. I just painted the edge with some acrylic, and the nice thing is on the white side it pretty much scrapes off. You could just use like a fingernail and scrape off any excess paint you want. The top might need a little bit more, but that as soon as I saw that any paint was off on the top, I just wiped it off with a paper towel. If you really wanted to enclose the whole thing, I didn't see a point in doing that because you really want to be able to see everything in your diorama. But you can get the chasm door, and you could put the chasm door here, you could put the utility closet here, and just butt 2 floors up against each other with those components on. And who knows, maybe you could put a hinge on it and the whole thing hinges open and you can look straight in on any one part of it. So that was just something I wanted to cover, and it was mainly because I wanted to tell people about the flooring, how nice this is to use. Because yes, you can always paint a surface, but sometimes over time figures do weird stuff and they get a little sticky, and then they'll like actually just, if they've been sitting in exactly the same spot for weeks or months or even a year, they might actually start pulling the paint up when you go to move the figure. So this is a way you can avoid that. You don't have to worry about this at all. This is almost like a hard surface that is affixed to the wood. So there you go. If you've been thinking about doing something like this for a while, like I said, you can get pretty much all the components at Hole in the Ground Productions. Also, another thing to think about is everyone seems to want a Death Star playset. But if you want to have something that is somewhat accurate and accurately scaled, I mean, 12 by 19, just for this one little room that a scene takes place in. So if you really want to get that accuracy, it's going to be hard to make something that is really going to please everyone. And so to me personally, I think the best idea is we just build our own with the way we want, and we don't have to get rooms that we may not care about. We can just do exactly what we want. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and maybe some of you are going to be making an appointment now to go to Home Depot and pick up some of this stuff.